Welcome to Makers International, a podcast of makers from 3 countries, 2 continents, and featuring 5 guys separated only by the same language. Here's your host, Richard Morley.
You're right, guys. I'm a bit different to Richard this week. As you can see, he's not here. He's off in a field somewhere. So, first of all, we're joined, as always, by Mr. Chris Cute.
How's it going, everybody?
Mr. Jamie Page.
Hello.
And now we've also got a token Canadian, Mr. Jason McGinn.
Hey, folks.
Right, I'm going to have to look at my phone for this next little bit because Richard very kindly gave me his notes for the sponsor spots. So today's podcast is brought to you in part by Yorkshire Grit, the wood turner's abrasive paste. Visit yorkshire-grit.com for all that information if you want to. And then also our good friend Chad from Mancrafting been giving away one of his awesome Mancrafting mugs each month to one of our lucky listeners, and I believe Jamie's sorting all that out. And if you need any of the links that we've mentioned, I'm in the description down below, or you can head over to makersinternationalpodcast.com/sponsors. Now, I've got 2 shout outs from last week and 2 gyms. So thanks, guys, for commenting over on the YouTube video from last week. And it's Jim Overton and Jim Dockrell. Thanks, as always. Anyone who's listening, if you want to shout out in the show, it's literally just interact with us over on YouTube, Facebook, all that good stuff. We love hearing from you and we love seeing what you've got in store for hopefully what we can do for topics and stuff like that. But I'm going to throw it over now to Chris to see if he's got any random listener questions.
Yeah, I do actually, Joe. And this one was from, it was from a while back, guys. And the reason why I say that is because I have to apologize to the person who asked it because I didn't write their name down. So if you're listening today and this is your question, then I'm thinking of you. It's the best I got. This person, whoever it was, I don't remember if it was male or female. The question was this, and it's a multi-part question. They want to know what kind of lighting do you have in your shop? And there's more questions beyond that, but it's all regarding lighting. What kind of lighting do you currently have in your shop? What type of lighting would you recommend for somebody to shoot video with? And are they one and the same? Meaning, I guess what they want to know is the lighting in your shop the shop you shoot videos with, or do you have separate sets? Or how do you guys handle lighting for your basic shop and also your videos? Is there a difference, or do you just have the same thing? What kind of lighting do you got is what he wants to know.
Me, I've got very, very basic lighting. I've got a window at the end of my bench, which is obviously artificial light as well, which is basically one single light just shining above my bench. Then I've got the natural light coming in through the window as well. Is it an
incandescent bulb, Jamie, or do you have fluorescent lights? What kind of lighting?
It's literally just one single bulb. And then it's really not the best lighting in the world. And then if it needs to be any brighter, because obviously I'm only focusing on one small area with a scroll saw or the lathe. So one bulb is normally enough to light it up. But should it need to go any brighter, then I'll just make it brighter on the in the editing software.
I'm picturing one of them swinging lights, in the torture rooms.
Yeah. With a metal cage around it.
And a clown's, like a red balloon.
Jamie
Tell me you like the scroll saw.
Jamie goes into his shop and lights the torches on the walls. It's like...
I call it a dungeon. It's a dungeon, not a shop.
Well, Jason, I know what kind of lighting you have, but go ahead and tell people. What are you currently using in your shop?
A22 LED lights. They're just regular LED bulbs, but they're 60-watt equivalents. And all my sockets and stuff are out of the garbage. Just people throw out, the track lighting or whatever. I'll grab it, wire it in, and use it. I prefer, actually, aside from that regular lighting, is little clip lights. You can find them and kind of bend them over and turn them around and angle them and point them. I like to have those and little setups to hook them on each little station I have.
And that's what you use. Do you use that mostly for videos or just for anything you're working on?
For everything I'm working on and videos.
Okay.
And when I'm making a video, I'll just try and angle the light so it works for the camera and me.
Well, Joe, you're going to have a more complex answer because I'm watching the lights change color behind you, so I'm assuming you have lights coming out your yin yang. What do you do for lighting?
Well, second part of the question about do you prefer different lighting for your workshop compared to what you're filming to what you actually want to work with. Generally, whatever works for both would be best. So for video, you want to go for obviously as bright as you possibly can, but also get daylight white, or it's sometimes known as cool white. That's best for cameras. But do keep in mind that most of the lights that are in your house, warm white, so you may not be used to that light for your eyes. It's great for visibility. If you're doing any close-up work in your workshop, it's fantastic for seeing, but it can be uncomfortable to some people. So for in my workshop, I've actually gone with warm white, which is bad for camera work, but I set my white balance on my camera to warm white, so it compensates it. It just feels more comfortable to my eyes when I'm working in my workshop. Up here in my bedroom, these lights that I'm changing now, these are also LED. These are Philips Hue bulbs. Doesn't really matter what they are. But these have got the capability of being both warm and cool white for video. The actual ones that I've got in my workshop are tube lights and them LED as well. So they go into regular fluorescent light fittings, the tube lights, and they've just got an LED starter instead of the fluorescent starter. And you can put in LED tubes then. So I've got 2 sets of 2 4-foot LED tubes, and the tubes was like £20, which is a lot more expensive than the fluorescent ones, but these tubes are rated for 40 years. So I think it's well worth the investment, especially for workshop lighting as well, when you need decent lights. But that's what I'm running at the minute. But the more lights, the better. Really like the idea of what Jason mentioned about the clip-on lights that would be adjustable, because I'm always in spots where if I'm filming low down or at weird angles, I just need a secondary light to try and fill the shadows. So that would be something I'd actually look into now.
Interesting. I don't have any of what you guys have. I have basic fluorescent lighting in my shop. I have 2 fluorescent lights that hang on my ceiling, and each one contains 4 fluorescent tubes. But I run a 32-watt T8 daylight bulbs in my shop, and that's super white light, and it's good to shoot video in. But as Joe mentioned, it can be tough on your eyes because it's very bright. But it's good to shoot video in. But the problem with my setup is because I only have overhead lighting in my shop, I get a lot of shadow. And so I've actually had to go out and you know what? I should have brought it with me. I bought those little, like kind of what Jason was talking about. I bought those little clip-on work lights. They're about, I don't know, I guess they're about 10 inches in diameter, and they have a little clip-on thing that you can move, and then you can spotlight it. I use those a lot when I'm doing video so that I don't get shadows and I can actually, get good lighting there. So I guess I don't change my lights for video, except the fact that occasionally I bring in a secondary light to make sure I'm not getting dark spots when I'm shooting something. But other than that, that's about it. I've got 8 fluorescent lights in my shop, and they're all 32-watt T8 daylight bulbs. So there you go. And if you're shooting video, and that's all you have to work with is overhead lighting, and you've got fluorescent tubes to deal with, and that's what I would recommend, because it's good for shooting video with. But it can be tough on your eyes because it's pretty bright.
It really is, but it's also something good to keep in mind as well, how big of a role that lighting plays into video quality. So you may be looking at a relatively cheap camera or smartphone that you're filming video with, and you're not getting very good results with the video. Have a try filming outside in daylight and compare the footage, and you may see a big difference. And if the video looks really good out in daylight outdoors, then maybe updating your lights in your workshop would see a drastic increase in your video equipment in how the videos actually turn out overall. So it could be as cheap as buying brighter bulbs or installing a new light system, as opposed to thinking you've got to go out and buy a brand new camera and all that good stuff. So do look into it, because it's well worth it for both sides. Even if you don't do videos, being able to see what you're actually doing in your workshop, it really pays off.
Yeah, it helps. I can tell you that I've got dark spots in my shop. Where my bandsaw is, there's no lighting. See, it's weird. My shop, I believe is 26 by 24, something like that. And all the lighting is off to the closest to my door to the entrance into my house. So the further end of my garage or my shop, it gets a lot less light than the third of my shop that's closest to the door of my house. And my bandsaw is over there, and I constantly have to bring lights in. even when I'm just not even when I'm videoing, when I'm just working, because I can't see what I'm doing. It's like I really need to install some more lights, I guess, in my shop is what the deal is with that.
That's the one thing I love about the track light system is because I'm able to that's in my bandsaw area and my tape saw area, and depending on which tool I'm using, I can just turn the lights towards whatever tool, and then I get all that light focus there.
That's really good.
That's what I've got with my one bulb. It's on like a clip, so I can just move it anywhere I want. It's quite handy, or I can just hold it.
I'll tell you something. I did see, not sponsored at all, Ryobi in the UK. I don't know if they've got them in the US. They've actually got some like patio lights that run off a battery, and they're literally on a string. And I think there's 4 separate lights, and then you just hook up a battery. I was actually looking into getting some of them because I thought that would be good to route around my workshop. And then because I've literally run all my power off one extension lead. And I'm thinking I can whack a battery instead of worrying about I've now got extra lights running off my same power. Just some, because I've seen a lot of like other companies, like I think DeWalt also have a fold out work light, but I think used mainly in automotive industry and stuff like that. And I'm sure Makita have got a big floodlight as well. So maybe if you've already got these batteries in those systems, getting something like that could be beneficial.
Yeah, and I would say if you're getting one of those, I would look at the LED versions now, because you come back to saving on electricity as that goes up in price, and plus, like you said, they last forever, and eventually that pays itself too.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we've been kind of struggling for topics. We was going to like aim it more towards Jason, but before we come on, he was like, well, we've done a highlight of him, but we have actually got Jason on the show now, pretty much long term. As you know, Alan is like really busy with his work at the moment, so he's on a bit of a hiatus, still very much part of the podcast behind the scenes and obviously talking to us all the while. But in the meantime, we've got Jason here, and Jason's going to be filling in. So Jason, why on earth did you want to become associated with us in any way?
I think the real question is, why on earth did you let me on the show?
We needed some very much.
We didn't.
Some credibility.
They did.
Oh yeah.
We didn't. They did. I was opposed to it. You had a marathon show for years, and I was never allowed on it. Jamie,
look, we invited you just last week to be a spotlight, and you didn't accept it. You didn't even answer us, so we don't even know what to say.
Oh yeah, whatever.
But I think all of this idea came about when Chris was over at yours, and I'm sure Beer was involved. And then all of a sudden it was, oh, we got a new podcast member.
Wait. That is not how this went down. You guys, like, stop right there. Stop right there.
Fly on the wall.
Yeah.
I like how Chris gets harassed for me coming in.
Oh man, I'm telling you, whenever you put McGinn and me together, I always catch the crap for it. What the heck? It's just nuts. This is not cool. No, I was simply at Jason's house, and he offered to come on and help us out, and I came back from Maker Central, and I asked Joe and Richard. Jamie wasn't around. That's not my fault, okay? Joe and Richard. What? Yeah, whatever. Anyway.
I remember it a little differently, but Chris was more on his knees begging. But
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. All right, we're done. We're done. Move on. We don't want to talk about freaking McGinn anymore. Jason, we're lovely. We're really happy to have you. Now, please leave. All right, whatever. So that's why Jason's here. He's here to fill Alan's place until Alan decides until Alan can get back. I mean, Alan wants to come back. He just is unable. So, but Jason, thank you for volunteering. We appreciate it, buddy.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
I would have preferred Matt Brander, but there you go.
Nice.
Got to make do with what you can get.
I know a guy who can make a call.
Yeah. Canadians, they're all the same anyway.
I would have preferred Pat Laugh, because at least if he insulted me, I couldn't understand him and know it. Anyway, so we're upholding the Canadian flag.
Yep.
Here's to you, eh?
Well, I'm thinking with this show now, because I really don't know what I'm doing, so we could maybe just go down the route of talking YouTube. being as that's what we're more into or what we're doing. I did notice recently there was actually a post over on Twitter. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was literally just posting about he noticed changes to his subfeed. And he said that his subfeed wasn't showing in chronological order anymore. So he couldn't see like the latest uploads in order. And YouTube actually responded to him and said that they're currently trialing a new method of like orientating the subfeed of doing it highlighted. So YouTube is now picking what's in your subfeed, what they think you would like to watch, rather than what you actually say you want to watch and click and do it. They am saying it's just a trial and it's on just a few people at the moment. I don't think it's rolled out across the board. But what do you guys think? Do you think that this is going to be a good thing or a bad thing, or not really much change anyway?
First of all, they wouldn't be trying it unless they planned on implementing it. I mean, come on, you don't start screwing around with stuff like that unless you have plans to change something. If they say that's only on a few people's feeds right now, then that just means they're beta testing it, trying to get the kinks out of it before they shove it down our throat. And I don't like it. I don't like it because I don't want YouTube to decide, make decisions for me. I don't need that. I mean, I understand other just about every other platform besides YouTube does that, but the one portion on YouTube that has always remained, untouched, the holy grail of whatever it is that I want to go see is my subscription feed. When I go over to, because I go on YouTube for one thing, I check to see if anybody has responded to a video, God forbid them if they have, and then I look over on the subscriptions because I want to see the people I've subscribed to, who's uploaded what, so I can go watch, the people who I say I'm interested in, because I click subscribe. That's really all I think I should have to do. And now they're going to play around with that. That makes no sense to me, Joe. I think that a lot of the people that I'm subscribing to, I'm going to lose some of the videos they put out because if YouTube is going to sort it to the point where I may not find them, I don't know. That just doesn't sound cool to me. Leave it alone, guys. Leave it alone.
I think part of it, though, as a cutting edge kind of company, like, I mean, this is front. I mean, like I said, it's the only company that does it. It's the only platform that so far that's available. Like, I say that loosely because there are other platforms, but the one that's working right now. I think a good option for YouTube and other social media companies would be to like put these things in place, but give me an option to set my defaults, set types, say have different algorithms I can choose from.
I'll agree with that. No, I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that. If they want to provide this service because they think it's useful to a lot of people, that's fine. But give me the option to opt out of using it. And you know what? Yeah. I'd be fine with that.
Prompt me and tell me why it's useful and ask me if I want to use it.
Yeah, that's cool. That I would go with, because then they're not, it's not all of a sudden a change I have no control over. It's, I'm there because I'm on YouTube as a viewer. Okay, I'm not on YouTube as a creator.
Well, and that's a strong tell to say what works for the people using YouTube because they start setting their options and then they know, okay, this many people set these options and these many people want it this way.
Mm-hmm.
And they can start, realizing who wants what and why.
There is also, talking about the defaults, another big problem that I did notice, them rolling out something, it may already be in action now, on the YouTube app on your phones. Whenever you set, like you click the bell icon to get notifications from the people you subscribe to, already set to default is that it won't alert you if a video is uploaded during a certain time period. So I'm calling it like a night mode. So if somebody uploads, so I say such as Chris in America, if he uploads at midnight my time, I won't get a notification for that because it could wake me up. But that is set to default. Well, of course, people's biggest argument is, yeah, that's a very good option to have, but it shouldn't be the default. People should be alerted about it. And then I could choose, okay, I don't want to get notifications between this time and set it like that. But then I'm going down the route of the negative option is the default. And a lot of people never change it. They just assume this is how it's meant to be and leave it all as is.
I got a stupid question. And it's just because you guys know how active I am on my phone. Which is basically me saying I don't pick up my cell phone ever. I mean, and I do mean ever. I haven't. I took my cell phone to Maker Central, and I hadn't picked it up since. How often do you guys, or do people actually use their phone to watch videos? Is that a viable option? I mean, and I got a second question because I just don't know, guys. I'm showing my ignorance here. I don't have a freaking clue. When you click the bell thing on YouTube, Joe, is that a notification thing for your cell phone, or is that supposed to alert me no matter where I'm at using my computer? Or, I mean, what does that do?
Well, here's the awkward thing. YouTube have changed it again recently
Okay.
for the bell icon.
I give up.
Usually you click the bell once, and you would get a notification whenever that person uploads.
Notification meaning it would be notify me on my phone or
Yeah, right.
Or your web browser.
Yeah, if you've done it on your web browser, you get it a
Okay.
pop-up on your web browser, or you get an email. If you
Okay.
did it on your phone, you get a pop-up on your phone and an email. They've
Okay.
now changed it. Well, they originally changed it to be they'll send you every now and again, so you wouldn't get every single notification. Now they've changed it to there's 3 options, so you can subscribe without notifications. You can then click the bell, and it will give you an option. Do you want every notification every time this person uploads? Do you want occasional notifications, or do you want to like leave them off? But it seems to be that the default on mobile is occasional. I have checked on my using Chrome browser. When I click the bell, it is all notifications first, and then you have to click it again if you just want occasional. So they're making it very difficult for the end user who aren't particularly tech savvy, who aren't really that interested in YouTube, maybe who don't see it as a current platform to use a lot. They're making it more difficult for those people. For people like us, who creators and who really enjoy the platform and use it in relation to the likes of TV and cable and everything like that, we would be more savvy and want to look into what's going on. But again, it's what the user's defaults. That's the trouble.
The other problem I have with...
Oh, sorry, Jay, go on.
Well, so the only other problem I have with YouTube guessing, and I call it guessing because it's their algorithm, what I prefer and what I don't, and giving that to me, is sometimes like I pick a video not because I don't want to watch it, but because I want to watch it later. Maybe I don't have 20 minutes to watch a video, but I have 5 minutes. So I scroll past a video, I watch the other one, YouTube starts thinking I don't like this channel, excuse me.
I get what he's saying. I understand what he's saying, because
Yeah.
it's the algorithm watching you go by somebody's video and then not being interested, and so therefore they're not going to suggest that person's video again to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's also the fact that with this new algorithm that they're doing with the sub feed as well, it's going to make it even more difficult. So if, again, I'll use Chris as an example. If Chris's videos aren't being shown to me in the sub feed because YouTube just doesn't show them, then that will come up. Exactly. But it'll come up that I'm not watching Chris's videos anymore. And who knows, it might go as far as unsubscribing me from Chris's channel, turning off all the notifications.
You know what? It's funny you say that. I think I was actually in a hangout with Jason and Chris the other day.
Yep, you were. I remember.
I clicked on a video and it was Cross of Ellen.
Yep.
And she uploaded a Maker Central video. And I noticed that I was unsubscribed from her, and I was like, well, I know for a while that I'd subscribed to her before, and it's kind of like, well, why all of a sudden is she now unsubscribed? You know,
Yep.
And it's kind of like, what the hell's going on? You know,
for ages, YouTube would never admit it, but it actually happened to their creator YouTube channel recently. Casey Neistat put out a tweet that he'd been unsubscribed from Jesse Wellens. They like best of friends, have done tons of videos together, so it was clear they would never deliberately unsubscribe. And YouTube said, oh, you must have accidentally clicked the button. A few months later, the Creator Studio YouTube channel had it happen to them. They was unsubscribed from like the main YouTube channel. They didn't do it. Now them looking into it. So like they finally believe people that this actually happens.
Huh.
Crazy.
Their phone app, speaking of that, I used to use it, and I would write a message. It'd either show up like 3 times, or another thing, it would show up like I wasn't subscribed, so I'd hit subscribe, and then all of a sudden I'm unsubscribed. Like I gave up on the phone app. I don't even bother.
It's kind of my go-to, to be honest, because I've started watching it a lot on the TV. And I've mentioned in a previous episode, like, you can't really comment on TV and you can't like that easily. So I'll watch a video and then I'll go to my YouTube app on my phone, load up my history, go to the same video, leave a comment, like, all that stuff. So that's what I mainly use it for. I do use the Creator Studio app to reply to my comments, because they'll literally pop up on my phone and I can quickly reply to them there and then. I tend to, if I leave it to reply on the PC, I'll go like 2 or 3 days before I get back to them, which I don't really like to do.
I'll have a laptop set up while I'm watching them on the TV if sometimes that's how I'll get my messages out. But generally that's why I don't comment on videos, is I watch them on my TV, and then I want to write something and I go back to my computer and I'm on something else. So
yeah.
Jason lives in that something shiny world, so he'll go to his computer to write you a response and tell you how wonderful your video was, but all of a sudden it's something shiny, and he never gets to it. I'm with you.
2 hours later, I got a database written.
Got kind of a good segue in a way, because talking about watching YouTube videos on the TV, the videos that I prefer to watch on TV, the longer formatted videos. Now, Chris was recently talking to us about our thoughts on longer formatted videos compared to shorter videos. Do we think it's a good idea? Stuff like that. And I think that could be a good conversation to get into now.
Yeah, let me ask some questions about that, Joe, if you don't mind, because I want to ask this, because we can take this from two different angles. I want to start out with this conversation by asking you as a viewer, not as a content creator, but as a viewer. You go to YouTube. Longer form videos. I mean, because we can see in our subscription feed, as long as YouTube doesn't screw with it, a video, and I can automatically tell you how long that video is. And the question I have for you guys is, if you see a video and it's over 8 or 9 minutes long, does that matter to you as to whether you are actually going to watch it? Or is it like a secondary consideration because you'll see that it's a longer video? Let's say it's 10, 12, 13, 14, heck, I don't know, 20 minutes long. And you look at it and you go, ooh, 20 minutes. And then you read the title and you go, oh, that's a subject I'm interested in. I'll go ahead and bite. But if you see something that may not be that interesting to you, but you enjoy the creator, you don't mind clicking on a 5-minute video, but would you do the same thing if it was a 15-minute video? That's the question I have. Do you know what I'm getting at? Does the length of a video depend on whether you watch it or not? I guess it probably depends on the time you have, but I don't want to answer the question for you. You tell me.
For me personally, I just scroll one by one, and it doesn't matter if it's a 3-minute video or an hour-long video. I'll go one by one and just keep going down the list until I've got to the last one I've watched from the day before.
Jamie, I think that you probably are not the norm.
Jamie is definitely not the norm.
Well, no, I'm just talking about in his viewing habits, because Jamie is a very loyal and very dedicated person. He's a very supportive person too. But the passive YouTube viewer is probably not going to react the same way Jamie does. What about you, Joe?
Well, for me, as you said, it really depends on your time at that moment. If you've got the time for a longer video, of course you can do. I'll probably stick to people who I'm not subscribed to, because very much like Jamie, if these are people I enjoy to watch, it doesn't matter how long the video is, I want to watch that person regardless of what they're doing. So if I'm particularly searching for a subject or I get recommended a subject, it goes two ways. If I already know the gist of what I want to find out, say I'm having trouble with my editing software and I've already got kind of a good idea of what I need to do, but I need this little extra help. If I see a video that's 30 minutes long, I'm not even going to bother clicking on it, because I've already got that knowledge behind it and I just want that quick solution that I need. So if I see a video that's like 2 or 5 minutes long, how to cut a YouTube clip in half or whatever it is, and I know this is going to be straight to the point, tell me what I need to do and I can be on my way.
Well, so okay, that would be an instance where you're using YouTube as a tool and not necessarily as an entertainment source. So you're using it more as a search engine than you are an entertainment source. Okay, I get that. That makes total sense.
Yeah. But then there's also the cases where it could be a subject where I've got no experience in, such as welding, and I'll see a video that's 5 minutes long and I'll think, well, there's no way that's going to have the information that I need to take in. So I want to look for something that's half an hour, if not longer. And that's what I tend to do. If I'm eating, here's a big thing. If I'm eating, I want to sit down and have something to eat. I will only watch videos that I'm like half an hour, 45 minutes, because I don't want to stop eating to put a new video on. So I like the ones on there and then
get your controller all sticky.
like Dr. Pimple Popper.
Once that shovel starts going into your pie hole, you don't want to stop, right?
Exactly, that's it.
Well, here's why I asked that question, because I want to spin this thing back around and for the creators that are out there listening, and for ourselves, just as a kind of a roundtable discussion, how does knowing how you behave, understanding how others behave, how does that get you to approach the videos that you do? Does it have a concern, or do you not concern yourself with it? I mean, I think ideally, if we're doing this as an entertainment vehicle for people, and because let's face it, we all do different types of making type of videos. Some are tutorials, some are nothing more than, hey, watch me make this. Some of them are more of a, hey, watch me make this, but also learn how I did it. And some of them are just straight up, I'm telling you some information you may want to know. You watch it if you want to. How, as a creator, does that impact you as far as the length of a video? Do you try to always keep it at a certain length, or do you know that there are times where this subject matter is going to hold people's interest long enough because you think it's relevant, and so you don't concern yourself with the time? How do you, as a creator, how do you approach creating your videos, doing it that way?
Sometimes when I'm making a video, I don't even know which angle I'm going to take at first, and I might go with the full explanation, stand up front, explain everything in full detail. And then I go to edit it, and I'm like, God, I sound boring. And I'll cut it and make it more of a, this is this, and then zip it up, show you what I did. So I guess what I'm saying is sometimes the video itself dictates it for me.
Okay. I mean, so you obviously don't storyboard your videos. You don't walk in there knowing how this video is going to be before you start filming. You have an idea what you want to do, and you film it, and then however this comes out is however it ends up coming out when you sit down to edit it.
Somewhat, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's a crude way of putting it.
Well, no, I'm just that's the honest way. That's the honest to God way we do something. Sometimes I do it that way too. Joe, what about you?
Well, I'm very much the same when it comes to a project video. I let the video literally dictate how it's going to be. As I'm editing, I don't even look at what time I'm getting to. I'll literally throw in all my clips that I've got, chop them up to just showing the action, lay them all out, and it could be 12 minutes at that point. I'll then write my voiceover, record my voiceover, throw that into the video, and then match the clips up to my voice, and that brings the time down a lot. And then I'll look at it and I'll think, if it's a 9-minute video, I'll be like, is this content really worthy of somebody's time being 9 minutes? What can I cut out? Is there anything I should get rid of? So I do very much go in with the mindset of, ideally, I want to get this video as short as possible, just because nothing special. If it is something that I feel I need to be more in depth, I could look at it and think, well, no, this has got to be at least 10 minutes for me to get across what I want to get across.
Right.
Another recent thing that I have done, though, I have recently storyboarded a video after watching Al and Brett's videos that they did on their channels. I want to do like that Peaky Blinders channel trailer. Now, being a channel trailer, I think you do need the thought behind it before you just go out and film something, because this is something that's going to like represent you for a long time. And I want this video to be around the 2.5 minute mark. So I've literally got every scene already marked out for me, what I want to go and film on site, so I can just get that done and not have to worry about it. So that's something to think about as well, because if you can storyboard, you're going to cut down how much work you've got to do actually filming, because you know the shots you want to get, and it's just like ticking off a list. I've got that shot, I've got that shot. And
I think you point that out perfectly. Is so that the key to it is the value of the content. And if you can keep a value of every second that you're speaking or you're showing or you're whatever you're doing in your video, whatever length that tends to be will just carry people through it, because it keeps them stimulated, it keeps them engaged, and it keeps them wanting to get that next. What's next?
Exactly.
So, Jamie, do you approach the videos that you do as far as when you actually, I don't, it doesn't matter whether you sit down and storyboard a video or not, but when you sit down to produce your video, is your goal to try to keep this as short as possible, but still keep it entertaining? Or do you just worry about, I just want to make this good, I don't care how long this video ends up being?
I'll be totally honest with you. I just wing it, to be honest with you. It's very, very difficult to, and just by looking at my analytics of, say, for argument's sake, scroll saw videos, it almost seems like people are more interested in the actual intro video than the actual scroll saw project.
Okay.
And the reason I say that, it seems like they're watching the intro video and then just skipping straight to the end and looking at the end product looks. You know, and it's kind of like, well, now I need to think of something to keep them around.
Did you try some router videos?
Hell no. See, this is why I wanted Matt.
This is why he wanted Brander. No,
Right. You know, so it's no one wants to. And I mean, obviously, I've put a lot of time into, say, a 30-hour scroll saw project, and I've tried my hardest to get it down to like a 9-minute video, and that's really pushing it. You know, getting 30 hours worth of video,
right.
Down to that long.
Because, well, I mean, you know, Jamie, maybe I'm not the norm, but I'm going to give you my 2 cents about a scroll saw videos, because they have got to be one of the hardest videos to produce to keep somebody's interest, because you're doing it's almost like you have. I think the key to maybe making those a little bit more interesting would be to move the camera like every 5 seconds, give a different angle of what you're doing and how you do it. But because it's basically a static shot. And by what I mean by that is the camera is sitting in one place, watching you do the same thing over and over and over again. Maybe different cuts, but to a viewer, it looks like the same motion. You're doing the same thing over and over and over again until a picture appears on the wood, and people know that. And so they watch the beginning. Oh, he's going to scroll saw the queen. And they might watch like the first probably 30, 45 seconds of you starting to scroll this queen. And then they're going to click to the very end of the video because they want to see the end of it. Because they get the gist of what you're doing. They don't want to see 8 minutes of the same thing. So it's got to be a very hard video to
well, I've actually come up with something to keep people around now, so everyone can keep their eyes peeled, and you'll see that soon.
I was just picturing a combination of like Carl Jacobson, how he changes angles on the lathe, with a Pat Lap kind of outcut scenes where you do something a little like, you know, you kind of bring everybody, you get them. That's like fun kind of.
Lathe videos are very much a kind of a static video too, and if you're not changing the angle on the camera a lot, then you're not really. People who aren't into turning aren't going to want to see how you handled that tool. I mean, I am very much into it because I'm still learning how to turn. So I'm very much interested in watching Carl Jacobson when he's using a certain tool, how he uses it. I'm trying to learn from that rather than have him, do a tutorial for us. Hey, Chris, here's how you use this tool. And, when you do this, you turn it this way. I want to watch him do that. So I will sit there and watch that. But a lot of people won't. It's very much a static thing, much along the lines of a scroll saw video, I would think. But, yeah, and I think camera angles, if you change the camera angle a lot, it may keep interest around. But I don't know that I could watch somebody scroll saw or do a lathe turning for 9 minutes and remain interested. Let's put it this way. I have yet to see somebody do it and keep me interested personally. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I think Frank Howarth is probably, apart from Cole Jacobson, is the only ones that can probably keep me entertained for that long when it comes to turning. I mean, some of the stuff that both them two do on the lathe is just incredible.
It's hard.
It is very difficult, but somehow they manage to keep me entertained whilst doing it.
And that's the thing, the length to edit those videos is astronomical.
Yeah, it really is. It really, really is. Especially if your goal is to show the entire process of how you started, how you went through it, and how it came out at the very end. You want to give the viewer a very good look at how you arrived at the end piece, but then you've got viewers who don't want to see you do the middle part. I mean, that's going to be hard. I mean, it's the middle part is what Jamie was talking about earlier. That always gets people to go, I don't want to see that. How do you get them to want to see that? I guess is what I'm asking.
That's why I've kind of thought of something to keep people around now. So that's what I'm gonna.
Well, I'll be interested in that. Because if you can keep me around through a scroll saw video, Jamie, I will be the first to let you know that you have won and should now get like a Nobel Prize or something.
Yeah,
you can very much still look at these videos as how you would approach any other kind of DIY maker style video. Because, for example, I'll go into making a project and I just basically want to show each step. Well, there will be steps in scroll saw projects, turning projects. So if you went into that with the idea of, right, I want to show the initial setup maybe, and then go into a time lapse as soon as you start recording time lapse, you've cut your footage way down. The size, the file size, the amount of time you've got to scrub through footage at the end, that's automatically cut down. And then when you get to each step, there's a great time to actually change your camera angle, change it up a little bit, get some slow-mo shots of the blade going up and down, that kind of cinematic feel to it. And then like Jason says, when you hit a point, if the blade breaks, slow that down to regular time. That's where you make a funny anecdote to throw your hands up in the air, that kind of thing, to keep the viewer like you're following along what's happening, and it's all moving at a steady pace. If I was going to produce a scroll saw video, I'd like to be less than 3 minutes, around 2 minutes probably, what I would try and aim for in the end. But that would all just come with whatever you can fit into your time scale, I would presume.
I tell you what, Joe, if you could do one of my scroll saw portraits in 3 minutes, you deserve a Nobel Prize.
I'll give it a go. I'll have to get a scroll saw first.
Just take his entire video and go time lapse, set to 3 minutes, enter.
That's it, exactly.
Well, here you go, Jamie. Next time you do a project that long, go ahead and videotape it, and then just send Joe the footage. Just say, "I want to see a 3-minute version." Good luck.
But see, right, here's something deadly serious now. Now, if you've got a catalogue of videos already in place, like a scroll saw projects, you stick that into a literal, just a time lapse, whatever you've already done, sped up. You get them less than a minute, whack those over on Instagram. You fill an Instagram feed full of all these quick time lapses of all done, like the time lapse of paintings. That would do really well. I can see that going really well.
Yeah, I might start doing that. Yeah,
that's an idea.
So it's like you stick your transfer on, bang him away, fast forward, all done, all cut, and then here's the finished piece. Less than a minute, nice music in the background.
Yeah. Well, if it's going to work on Instagram, that would work on YouTube as well.
Just a quick question about Instagram, though. What's the rules with the music and copyrights and things like that?
I don't know.
There is copyright. I had an issue. I uploaded, what was it now? It was something. I think it might have been the Overwatch light, and I'd got the Overwatch game sound at the end, like the intro kind of thing when I show the finished product, and it was fine on Facebook. And I went to upload it on Instagram, and before it finished uploading, I got a notification that it had censored, sensed that there was copyrighted audio on it. Do I own the rights to all the audio? Blah blah blah. So I had to go in and change it and get rid of it. So there definitely is things in place. Whether it catches you for whatever you're putting, I don't know how robust the system is. I don't know if there's any like anything in place that would try and stop you from doing it, whether you could get a ban on Instagram, whether you would get fined. I have no idea. So rule of thumb is use your own material, stay away from copyright. That's kind of the best thing you can do.
And you can feel good about yourself when you put your head on the pillow at night when you do that.
That's it, yeah.
See, that's just being a nice guy. Don't use somebody else's hard work and for nothing. That's just wrong. I'm going to heaven. I'm going to heaven.
I did have something funny though on Facebook. There was one of them. I think it was the Godfather one. I'd got the official Godfather soundtrack to my Facebook video, and it got flagged not for the Godfather. It got flagged for the Mayweather fight with Conor McGregor, saying that it was the soundtrack from the build up to the fight, and it was the Godfather soundtrack. So I don't know what happened there, but just something weird anyway. So it obviously recognised that it was something, but just got the wrong one.
Yeah. I've heard people use split seconds of real, like, copyrighted audio though on their YouTube channels that are monetized. Is there a certain amount of time that you're allowed to use, like 2 seconds?
No. But because people have figured out that YouTube operates on algorithms and computers to recognize things, they've also realized that if you use a split-second clip, YouTube probably won't catch that, and
it's not enough,
and won't flag it. It's not enough material for it to grab onto and go, oops. And so they'll grab, like I've seen guys throw clips from movies. And famous actors that are just saying what they want them to say, and people automatically, it's funny what they're saying, but they automatically recognize the thing. But it's just quick and it's gone. And I've seen those. I've seen those monetized. And
here's the thing: it's very awkward. There isn't any thing saying, oh, as long as it's less than 10 seconds, you're okay. The laws with copyright, you have to be adding to the original content. You need to be transformative in what you do with the content. So in theory, you could literally take a good 1 minute chunk of a movie, and as long as you do enough to change it and give it your own spin, it should be fine under copyright. You'll probably still get a claim come through, and it's up to you whether you want to like go ahead and try and dispute the claim with YouTube. Right. Yeah, like I had it happen on a music track I'd used. There's a creator over on SoundCloud called Jeff Kale, and he does like the music for Casey Neistat. And I emailed him, and he gave me permission to use his soundtracks, which is great, and it's never been claimed by Jeff at all. But he does samples, so he'll sample other music tracks, and there was a sample in one of those tracks that got claimed on my video. Now the sample was like less than 2 seconds. It was like 2 words, and that was it. And I took the decision just to cut that 2 seconds out of the audio on the video, because I don't really want to go through the hassle of a dispute that could possibly end in a lawsuit on my end. But if you're confident in what you're doing is transformative, you can go ahead. There's a big case going on at the moment. Well, it's not a case. You may have seen it if you watch the drama channels. PewDiePie, the biggest YouTuber, recently got into a confrontation with a Twitch streamer. He was reacting. He got eye tracking software that showed where he looked on the screen. So people sent him videos to watch to then see where his eyes track. And one of the videos was a compilation of Twitch streamers, female Twitch streamers. So you can imagine the kind of video. He's trying not to look at them. And he makes what could be viewed as a nasty comment about them. A Twitch streamer was watching that. She wasn't happy. She wanted to claim his video. It got claimed, but it got sorted. But this is a good example of YouTube judged his content on that video to be transformative. He was literally just watching somebody else's video, but he added enough to it to make it his own and to make it transformative. So it was covered under fair use and under copyright. So it really is all down to how confident you feel. I've had quite a few people, especially with new channels, asking, would I be okay to show a trailer? Would I be okay to show a clip from a TV show? Everything like that. And I'll kind of break it down to them as the worst thing that could happen is all the revenue from that video goes to the copyright owner. So if you're happy with that worst case scenario, go for it. I mean, like I've had my TV appearance when I was on the game show. The BBC claimed that video totally. I was expecting it to happen. So I decided to actually just take the video down because at that point it was done. Nobody was watching it anymore.
What was
so
it?
I just took it down.
Guys, what was that? There was a television show, and I don't know if it was available in the UK. I'm pretty sure Jason probably was able to see it. It was pretty popular here in the States. It was like a show that would show an entire movie, okay? But the entire movie had 3 cartoon characters that were sitting in the screen, and they were aliens. I can't remember what the name of that program was, and it was probably a copyrighted movie, but they had these characters that were constantly talking amongst each other throughout the movie. And I'm wondering if that's kind of along what you're talking about, Joe, how they kind of made somebody else's work their own. Being a television station, I'm sure they probably paid royalties on the movie themselves, but it was just an idea that somebody had that was absolutely funny. But I'm wondering if that would kind of enter that realm that you're talking. What was it? I can't remember the name of it. It was something, I want to say something 2000. I don't remember what it was. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know, but there is something to be aware of on that line of things, though. Feeling comfortable. I checked with an artist once because I loved his music, and he had free copyright, it was free use, whatever. And so I asked him anyway because I was monetizing my videos, and he said, "Sure, yeah, no problem, I don't care." I used them for a while. I used them for like 4 or 5 videos and then forgot about it. And then after a while, all of a sudden my videos started getting demonetized. And I was like, what? He changed his copyright on his music and started claiming these things. And so I lost those videos. I didn't lose the videos, I just demonetized them. But
yeah, be careful where you get your music from, folks, because people because like that can happen. A creator can change his mind on the music and go ahead and start claiming something that when you originally got it was free, but sorry, don't have it in writing, and he changed his mind. Make sure if you're going to use music for your videos that's outside of the YouTube library, then make sure you're paying for it and that you have something in writing that says you have the right to use it. Otherwise,
the funny thing is, I've actually been got a strike once before using YouTube music.
That a lot of people do. That has happened to a lot of people. I think they've sorted that out pretty much now, Jamie. I'm not positive. But at one point in time, there were people that were getting flagged on using the music that YouTube said you could use it for free. And that people were getting in trouble from YouTube for using the music that they said. It was like, what? How do I win here, guys? It's like, what's going on with this?
There's always going to be flaws in the system. I'm just watching the clock here a bit. We've got like 10 minutes to go. So I'm thinking we should get into the shout-outs now. If any of you have actually got shout-outs, if I throw it over to Jamie first. Jamie, have you got anyone you've been watching this week?
I've got a shout-out. My shout-out goes to... excuse me. It goes to a young girl. She's got a channel called Caitlin the Cat. Now, when I say young girl, it's very inspiring. She's about 13 or 14 years old, and she does wood turning. She originally started off at a wood turning club, and I believe she went to Maker Central, and someone actually turned up there. I'm not sure who the guy's name is. I think she did a video on it, and someone turned up there and gifted her some tools and some wood, and actually gave her own lathe as well. So she can actually do some turning at her actual house now, as well as the wood turning club. So yeah, she's got about a little under 400 subscribers at the moment. So yeah, that's my shout out, Caitlin the Cat.
I actually caught one of her videos making a plate. It was a bowl actually, and really cool. Like she stopped a lathe and then carved out all these little spots and then painted them all and then carved them. Like she's a good turner. She's really good.
Yeah. I mean, for 13 or 14 years old, she's gonna be showing up Carl in a couple of years.
I have to check that one out. I haven't actually seen that one before. See, I'm sounding like Richard, ain't I? This is what I think you got to do. Like I've never seen that channel. I've never watched the videos. That's what I've got to do.
Wait a minute. Wait. Stop the clock. Billy Burt, thank you, my man. Yes. The show I was talking about earlier, it was called Mystery Science Theater 2000. If you guys are not familiar with it, look it up. It's hilarious, but that's the example I was talking about, the cartoon characters watching the movie. Anyway, sorry, Billy, thank you for the info, because that was bugging the crap out of me.
At least we know now. What about you, Jason? Have you got any shout-outs this week?
Yeah, actually, it's been a while. Izzy Swan.
What's up?
Known as the master of the drill, but in this video, he's master of the table saw, which if you've seen his stuff from a while ago, he's bringing that stuff back, and he's been back in action for the past month, so it's good to see. Anyway, and he did a really good job on explaining. He made a jig and explaining how cove cuts on the table saw work, and then made a really cool art piece. It's a massive trivet. So yeah, Izzy's back to his old antics, and I recommend everybody go check out his latest.
I love that video. I watched that today, actually, after you mentioned it with the shout out. Turned out great, like doing cove cuts and everything on the table. So it's just mesmerizing to watch, I think.
I love when he was doing the opposite side cuts, and they were opening as and they'd form as perfect circles.
Yeah, the circles coming through.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I saw you done there as well, Jason, doing the old.
Yeah.
No. What do you say? It looked like one of those outdoor games, like the
Connect Four,
tic-tac-toe.
Yeah, exactly. Connect Four game. That was a cool video. So yeah, he loves it.
What about you, Chris? You got any shout outs?
Absolutely. The man everybody loves, at least everybody that I know. Bill Lutz. Mostly just because I want to shout Bill out, because Bill's awesome. I mean, come on, you gotta love Bill.
He is.
But if you haven't been following Bill recently, and you should have, Bill has been doing nothing as of late. And by as of late, I mean I'm thinking probably the last 4 or 5 months. Bill has been doing a lot of making his own custom cigar box guitars. And you know what? It's really cool about that. The way he's doing it is you can see the one that he made, the first one he made, and the more he does it, the better he gets. And man, he put out a video I think it was just yesterday, a couple days ago, how he shapes the necks for these cigar box guitars. He showed his process on how to do that, and the guitar that he's showing in this video, he's gonna put it up for sale. And it comes complete with an amplifier and everything. I don't think he's even asking for that much money, but I forget what he was asking. But I looked at it, I went, well, that's not a lot. But if you haven't had a chance, go check that out, because Bill has been slowly progressing his skills to become a cigar box luthier, and he's actually become pretty darn good at it, man. So Bill, thumbs up to you, buddy. I mean, good work, man. I loved it.
Yeah, I don't know if he's on Instagram, but his Facebook pictures, he's always got some really beautiful shots that he takes
every morning. Yeah, every morning.
Every single day.
Good morning, kids.
Well, I've actually got a shout out as well this week, and it is Crafts with Ellen. Now, I love watching Ellen's channel, and I've said quite a bit before in some of my past videos how it's really inspired me to want to try and get into sewing and like that kind of craft, working with material and creating clothing and upholstery and stuff. Well, she recently made a jacket for Laura Kampf, and I was lucky enough to actually be there when she gave it to Laura and see the reaction and everything like that. But when I first saw it, to be honest with you, when I very first saw it, I thought she's brought the jacket and then she's sewn on Laura's custom badge. And then, of course, listening to the conversation, I'm like, hold on a sec, she's made this. And it looks perfect. And she goes into great detail showing you how to make it. And she's also got separate videos out how to do an inside pocket. I forget the proper name for it because that's supposed to be like the most awkward part to do. But you watch it and you just see this go from random pieces of material that she's just like cut out to an amazing jacket, custom made pockets for everybody. It's just brilliant. Go and check it out. It'll be linked in the description down below. That's Crafts with Ellen. Check out all of the stuff. Get subscribed. Everything like that. Fantastic maker. Fantastic videos. And it was great to meet her at Makers Central.
It was, and she's a great she's a really nice person too. So yeah, absolutely go support her. Thumbs up to Ellen. Absolutely.
She really is. Now I'm like, I need to look at my phone because I forget what Richard does at this point. I think he literally just says,
he keeps on going because there's still 2 minutes left and you've finished.
Yeah. He'll just keep, he'll go, oh no, crack on, mate, crack on. That's okay. Joe has to edit this. We're not worried. It's like...
I think what it is because I didn't go off and I didn't make a cup of tea before the program started.
Yeah,
so we didn't come out like 5 minutes late.
We'll give you guys some inside information if you're watching us live. The reason why we sign on late sometimes, every time that we sign on late, is because Richard has decided about 2 minutes before we're supposed to be signing on, oh, I'm going to go put a pot on. I'll be right back. Just going to get a kettle on. What is that? What he says? I need to go get a kettle on, and then he has to go get the kettle on. They'll get his tea, and then he comes and sits down when he's good and damn ready. So yeah, so when we're late, you can blame Richard. That's because that's normally the case.
This is the perfect example because I've literally got the notes up on my phone now that Richard gave me, and around this time, this is where he says,
"Richard's in the chat. he's saying we're lying, Richard. We're not lying, and we're not lying."
I need to start recording the pre-show back again. But anyway, I've got his notes here, and literally word for word, he would say, I think that just about wraps up tonight's show. Where can everyone be found on social media? Now, how long has it been since he asked us where we can be found on social media? Because we've been over
a while.
Every single episode.
So about a year. About a year. It's been about a year since he asked us that.
But see, that's perfect because I'm looking at the time now, and that little bit of me rambling has kind of took it close to the hour mark. So I'm going to say that's tonight's show. Thanks to everybody for watching. Thanks to everybody out in the chat. I noticed Jamie didn't really fill us in much, but what you're going to do? Got to just crack on, I suppose. And if you want to subscribe to everyone on the panel, our links will be down below. Big thank you to Jason for joining this crazy team. If you don't know his channel, Jason McGinn on YouTube, McGinn's Woodshop. Go and check him out, get subscribed. You know a slot. And I'm sure Jamie will be adding his links over on the podcast website pretty soon.
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. So I'll say that's goodbye from me.
And that's goodbye from him.
See you later, folks.
Have a great week, everybody, and welcome, Jason.
Thanks.